Hey, ready to do some pedaling today? On the piano, that is. Hi, I'm Dayna, and this is Dayna's Music Notes. Hey guys, so welcome back to my music room and to Dayna's Music Notes. This is lesson 13, and like I said, we're going to talk about the pedals today first. So there's 3 pedals on your piano, and first let's talk about the one to the far left. So this is called your soft pedal, and when you push this pedal down, what it does is move the whole action of the piano slightly over to the right, so that when you play a key, then a hammer, instead of hitting all 3 of the strings, it's going to only hit like 1 or 2 of the strings, and so there's a softer sound. And so if you come on over, let's look at that on my piano. Okay, so there we've got my little purple and green themed candles, but I'm trying to get in here to where you can see what's going on with the action of my piano. So I'm going to push, I'm trying to find it here, that far left pedal, your soft pedal, and if you can see what it's doing, see, look down there, those are the hammers down here, and when I push that soft pedal to the far left, they all, see how they scooch over to the right? Okay, so I'm going to play a C chord, just normal. Oh, it's way over here. And then we're going to push that down and play it again. So could you hear how muffled that was? Okay, so now I thought I'd show you like this. So here's your 3 pedals. And by the way, you use all of them with your right foot, just like you're driving a car. You know, with a car, you push on the gas and your brake with your right foot. So right now I'm going to push on the soft pedal. And I don't know if you can see what it's doing on here, but if you watch, just see that, how it moves them. You can just see the keys physically move over to the right. So here we go. And then push that down. And you can definitely hear that the sounds are softer. So next we have the pedal that's in the middle. This is called your sostenuto pedal. And to me it's kind of a strange pedal because my piano before this one, the sostenuto pedal, did something completely different than this one does. But what it's supposed to do is when you, let's say you push down the C chord, and then you push that middle pedal down, then it is supposed to lift the dampers of just those 3 that you have pushed down. So that then when you play the piano, if you keep that pedal down, anytime you hit a C, E, or G, those 3 notes would be sustained, where all the other notes would just, you know, the dampers would come back down on those and stop the sound. So on this piano, that's what it did on my other piano. On this one, it only, the whole bass clef, it lifts up the dampers from there. And so again, let me show you on my piano what that one does. All right, next we're going to look at the sostenuto pedal. And you can't really see it going on here, but I'll show you in a second the inside of the workings of my piano. But so this one, from about here down, hear how it holds out the music, and then as I come up here, it's not holding those out. And so now we'll look inside my piano so you can see that. Okay, now I'm pushing the middle pedal, the sostenuto pedal, and if you notice, so see this bar here that divides my music from that low A, below middle C, all the way down. So it's only lifting those dampers. None of these are being lifted up here. So that's why only those lower keys, the music sustains. Okay, and then last of all, we have the pedal to the right. This one is the most important pedal. It's the pedal that you're going to use the most. And it is called either the damper pedal or the sustain pedal. I've heard it called both. I think I always called it the sustain pedal. But what it does, when you push that pedal down, it just lifts all the dampers up out of the way so your sound keeps going. It sustains. And like I said, it is the most important pedal. I use it all the time. At the very end of my lesson today, I'm going to play a song that uses a lot of pedals, so you'll get to see that. But right now, let's take a look at what the damper or sustain pedal does. And then last of all, we have our sustain or our damper pedal, which, like I said, is the one that I use the most. And it actually holds out all of your notes. Okay, and then here's the inside of my piano when I'm pushing on the sustain or the damper pedal. So you can see all of the dampers are pulling up. So the ones down lower and the ones up higher. And so that way when I'm playing, and then when I let go of the pedal, it pops back down and stops the sound. Now I want to let you try a little exercise, and I've got this to where you can see my pedal and my hand playing chords at the same time. Now first, before you try this with your pedal, let's just practice going from C chord to D chord, which has a sharp, E chord, F chord, and G chord. So the goal here is we want to sustain the sound between each chord. So here's what you're going to do. Chord down, pedal down. Lift your hand, but your pedal stays down. Move over to the D chord, and as your hand goes down to play the D chord, your foot comes up off the pedal, and then right back down, and then your hand comes up. Okay, E chord, hand goes down, pedal goes up, hand comes up, and the G. Now let's try moving back down. F, E, D, and C. Now if you don't do it correctly, you'll hear it. Say if your hand and pedal go down at the same time, hear how you hear that break? That means you're not doing it correctly. It does take quite a bit of practice, but once you get it, you don't even have to think about it anymore. Your foot just comes up and down correctly. You can also try this with your arpeggios. Now we're on E. And our C on top. And then I'm also going to play a little bit of a song where you're only going to see my pedal move. And so listen for whenever I'm changing chords on the song, then you'll see my pedal move at the same time. Okay, I know there's a weird shadow down there, but hopefully you can see what my pedal is doing. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about in this lesson is accidentals. And hopefully if you're riding your bike, you're not going to have too many accidents, but in piano, an accidental is pretty easy. And I'll just show you what that is over here on my piano. Okay, thought we would just look at Sonata again. This is the piece that I've played a little bit for you before, but if you notice, it's in the key of C. And so if you're in the key of C, there should not be any sharps or flats. And as we move along, there are not until we get right here. We've got a C sharp, and that means this is an accidental. And then this little symbol, I can't remember if I've taught this to you before or not, but it's a natural sign. And it just means that, yes, you sharped this here, but now we're going back to just a regular C instead of a sharp. So here's another accidental. Here's one, but they don't want this one C sharp, so there's your natural sign. And then there's another one, so that's all that is. That's your accidentals. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about in this lesson were rest. So after a long bike ride, you need a rest, right? And in piano, there are rests also. So let's talk about those. Okay, haven't used my trusty marker board in a while, but it's a great little device to show y'all some things. So last time I used this was to show y'all some notes, and now we're going to look at some rest. Actually, I'm going to put the notes over here that we've learned. You've got your eighth note. You've got your quarter note. you got your half note, and you got your whole note. There's rests that coincide with those that get the same amount of counts. So if you see a little thing like this, kind of looks like a 7 with a dot, this is an 8th rest. Your quarter rest looks a bit like a lightning bolt. There's your quarter rest. Your half rest. So this is the line of the staff, and so it just sits on top of the line like this. That's a half rest. And last of all, your whole rest sits below the line like this. Okay, so that would mean that in 4/4 time, your 8th rest is going to get half of a count. Your quarter rest is going to get 1 count. Your half rest is going to get 2 counts, and your whole rest is going to get 4. And then these two, the way I teach my students these two, because they look a lot alike. How can you remember which one sits on top of the line, which one sits below? So a half rest sounds more like hat, and this looks like a little hat. Your whole rest, even though it's the word W-H-O-L-E, if you think of a hole in the ground, so here's your ground and your hole down under, so that's a little fun way you can remember your half rest and your whole rest. So now let's look at these on some music. Okay, let's look at this song right here for our rest. So this song is in 3/4 time. And so if you remember in a past lesson, I taught you that whatever time signature you're in, this one's in 3, so there's going to be 3 beats per measure. Now sometimes, you know, you're going to hear a quiet part of a piece. It's still going to get a count, and that's where our rest come in. So notice this song, your right hand plays an E and a B together, and actually holds it, if you remember our ties, holds it into the next measure. Your left hand is not playing at all, but there still has to be 3 beats per measure in both signatures, in the top and the bottom. So there's our whole rest. Remember, your whole rest hangs from underneath the line, and not just any line. Notice it's hanging from the F line. So it's going to rest 2, 3, rest 2, 3. If you look at our right hand up here, so this note is actually going to get 4 counts, but we'd count it 1, 2, 3, 1, and now we have 2 rests. Mainly you just pick that hand up so you don't hear anything holding on. If you were to keep your fingers down, that note would keep going, you know. And then let's see, let's look at a song I've actually played for y'all a little bit of. So this one is in 4/4 time. And notice we don't have any rest until right here. So the last beat of this measure, your right hand is going to rest. So if you're counting these, your 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3, and there's the 4 end. So you just pick your hand up so you don't hear any sound there. And then here in our left hand, it plays on beat 1, and then it rests for beat 2 and beat 3, and comes back in on beat 4. Okay, the song I'm going to play for you is called Heart Sounds by David Lons, and it's one of my all-time favorite songs to play. And I did not have the music for this piece, at least the beginning part of it I didn't. So I had to buy the CD, and I stuck it on a little bench over here next to me, and I'd listen to a part of it, try to play it, listen to a part, because that's not my strength, is to play by ear. But I eventually worked it out, and so hopefully I can remember all of it for you. So, Heart Sounds. concludes our lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure and go ahead and hit that like button. And if you haven't yet, be sure and subscribe. And if you want to get notifications anytime I upload a new video, which is always on Mondays around 10 in the morning, then be sure and click that bell. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I hope to see you next Monday. Bye.